Time to talk to us. How does Russia and South Africa plan to fortify their diplomatic ties?
Well, that's right, Desiree. Very good morning to you. So the two countries really are allies in so many fronts. The Deputy Minister was really emphasizing the importance, especially next year ahead of Africa-Russia summit, where quite a number of issues will be tackled, and also really just looking at ways of fortifying the ties. And also next year as well, it's going to be over 30 years since the two nations really had the diplomatic ties. But also, most significantly, Desiree, do understand that the Deputy Minister and the Special Envoy for these two key regions, the Middle East and Africa, has been to Mozambique and the Kingdom of Sardinia as well. And he had a meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa. And today is going to be a very busy day for him as well, as he's going to have quite a number of meetings with the officials from the Department of International Relations and also the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, looking at ways of boosting trade between Russia and South Africa. But also we know that these are BRICS countries as well, so they really cooperate in so many fronts, whether you look at healthcare, defense and other matters as well.
We just said in our introduction that there's conversation about cooperation in terms of tackling COVID-19. Give us the details.
Well, precisely, Desiree. It was quite interesting really to listen to the Deputy Minister saying this is a very acute challenge that we face, but stressing the very fact that a very effective tool is vaccination against COVID-19. And he spoke about his own experience with a bout of COVID-19 due to the Delta variant, but also saying the vaccine production should really not be seen a competition because it hinders the process of making sure that people are vaccinated, especially in the continent, Desiree, where we know that less than 10% of Africans are vaccinated. It's still a massive challenge. But also we do know that when you look at the context of South Africa, you look at the regulatory body, SABC, where it said, well, for now, when it comes to Sputnik, really, a lot of researches must be done before it's really administered to the people, but also emphasizing the ties between the continent and Africa in terms of making sure that they work together in really so many fronts.
Issues, of course, conversations about terrorism. It's a big issue. And any plans on the cards in tackling this phenomena?
Well, precisely, Desiree. So this particular visit to South Africa was preceded by the Deputy Minister's visit to Mozambique, where he met with the Prime Minister and also other key officials. And really, we know that when you look at the context of Mozambique in Cabo Delgado, it's still a massive challenge in light of the insurgency in that region. So the Deputy Minister emphasizing that Russia is keen to consolidate the capabilities of African nations to tackle this particular phenomenon, but also saying that there are quite a number of plans that they have in terms of consolidating their capabilities, in terms of the training of counter-terrorism personnel, the intelligence, among other officials. So quite a very important message that he really emphasized. But obviously, it's a very interesting time, really, with the Deputy Minister's visit to Africa. We know that Moscow is really reshaping and revitalizing its policy when it comes to Africa. It's quite a very significant region with over 1.3 billion population. So the Russians as well, they're looking at this very massive market and really just looking at ways, how can they boost and make sure that they strengthen this particular relationship.
Kaya, what other interesting points are there to look at in relation to this gathering that you're at this morning?
Well, another very critical issue, Desiree, is around climate change. The Deputy Minister really called for countries really to try and find common approaches through the BRICS platform, G20, among other platforms, to try and look at how can they work together to tackle this particular issue, because we know that with the continent, I mean, it's not really a significant emitter of the greenhouse gases, but really it's bearing the brunt, where we've seen quite a number of catastrophes really happening in the continent. So the Deputy Minister really spoke at length about that. But also another issue of very special interest, Desiree, will have to be the current situation in Afghanistan. So the Deputy Minister says Russia is really working so hard in terms of making sure that stability is restored in Kabul, but also in terms of their diplomatic mission in Kabul. They are in contact with Taliban. We know that for the longest time, the issue around the international recognition of Taliban has really been a hot potato. And also really the Deputy Minister speaking about the 20 years of the occupation by the US, saying really that really had a very bad impact in that particular country.
Khaya, thank you so much for the update. Hope you can give us another one later on just in terms of what transpires there. But thank you so much. Let's take you to the story.